Hey guys, what's going on? It's Casey with Cascadia Dispatch, prepping for non-preppers. So I've covered Costco a couple of times. I've covered Target. Today I went to Whole Foods because we have a Whole Foods by our house. And for the most part, it hasn't super been affected. I haven't seen, other than hand sanitizer, there hasn't really been a whole lot of a run on things at Whole Foods. You wouldn't expect it. It's a little bit more specialty than, for example, a Fred Meyer or a Safeway. So a lot of those places I've seen more. So we went to Whole Foods earlier today and it was pretty unbelievable what I saw when I was there. So I had to come back to show you guys because it was pretty unbelievable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through Whole Foods. I'm going to show you guys what I saw, what's going on there. I may have to voice over some of this stuff because there are a lot of people. The parking lot is packed. It's like Thanksgiving Day parking over here or the day before Thanksgiving where there's just people everywhere. So I may have to voice over some of this stuff. Bear with me on that. But we're going to go through and take a look and kind of show you guys what it looks like when now more and more people are stocking up. I've kind of seen these waves happen. When the first case happened, there was a big wave of people going out to stock up. That's where we started to see the run on toilet paper and paper towels. The weeks before then, people who were aware, people who were thinking about preparedness, they were starting to get stuff, but I wasn't seeing the runs and the sellouts. When the first case happened in Oregon, the next day is when we started to see the sellouts of hand sanitizer and toilet paper and paper towels. And then things kind of returned to normal a little bit. We had stock kind of coming back into stores. And then there were some of the big closures. And when the government started declaring closures for things, there was another run on things. Well, 2 days ago, we had schools canceled in Oregon. And that's when the dominoes really started to fall with March Madness being canceled, the NBA being canceled, sporting events being canceled. All of these different things started getting canceled. And people that really either weren't aware, didn't think it was that serious, the idea of either quarantining or not being able to go out, it really woke a lot of people up. And so yesterday, there were a lot more people at the grocery stores. I saw that. But then this morning, I think you had people that either were working during the week and couldn't come into a grocery store. And so today was their day to go in to stock up, or people who just put it on their to-do list for the weekend. Oh my goodness, we got to go stock up, are out there. As a bonus, we in the Portland area don't deal with snow very well. And this morning there was snow. It wasn't sticking really in kind of the city areas, but there was snow going on. And so that's another thing where people are like, oh my goodness, snowpocalypse, I got to go run out. Well, by this afternoon, there is no snow happening. Everything is fine and people can get on the roads and stuff. So it wasn't a big deal, but Portland area doesn't really deal with that well. So that was just a bonus on top of this. So we're going to go into Whole Foods and check it out. And you guys can see what I saw, which is a sight I have not seen at Whole Foods ever before. All right, so as we walk in, this is the first thing that was startling. But first off, there's like no carts anywhere. They're all out in the parking lot, or people have them in the store. But they usually have a cafe set up where you can eat and order food. And as you can see, they've gotten rid of all the tables, all the chairs. They're definitely discouraging people from congregating and eating together. So bread, this is a thing that usually is pretty well stocked at Whole Foods. Even when there's runs on things, there's usually food, usually bread. And today there are a lot of empty spots in their bread section of the fresh bread. There is some frozen bread that they have in freezers, but anything that's thawed, there is virtually none of. So this is another thing that's kind of a new phenomenon I'm seeing, is dairy, eggs, yogurts, cheese. This area usually has a pretty consistent stock. Even if you've got something that's maybe sold out, maybe because it's on sale or something, you don't usually see this amount of empty spots and onesie twosies of things in this section. This is definitely a lot of people who have woken up and decided that it was time to stock up and get ready for a couple of weeks at home with the kids. Our spring break starts not this coming week, but the next week. And so now most kids have 2 weeks of spring break. So there's a lot of parents that are trying to. Soap has been out for weeks, but again, there's actually refills, but just not the little pumps. And no hand sanitizer of any sort, which again we see everywhere, but just kind of grounding it in. There is soap. So one of the bummers is they have hydrogen peroxide. They have been out of rubbing alcohol for a while, and they've been kind of running in and out of aloe vera gel. So I had heard about making my own hand sanitizer with alcohol and aloe vera gel. So I came in and I bought a bunch of aloe vera gel the other day. I ordered some alcohol to come in to hopefully mix it together. Now there's a lot of recipes around that you need 99% rubbing alcohol in order to dilute it with the aloe vera gel to make it 60% or more at the end, which, okay, fine. The problem is Whole Foods only sells 50% alcohol. So just make sure if you are buying rubbing alcohol, that you're checking on the percentages. So this is all of the immune system supplements, specifically elderberry. This is another one now that has the limit 2 per customer. So this has been, they've run out of gummies for a day or two, they've run out of pills for a day or two, but there's always been stuff. There is like 4 bottles of the syrup, but for the most part, the elderberry and stuff is totally sold out as people try to boost their immune systems and just kind of battle everything. Also, cough drops have been pretty well hit. Emergency, anything that would be an immune system supplement is been hit. As opposed to Costco that was running low on chicken and had plenty of beef and pork, Whole Foods is kind of the opposite as it relates to the packaged stuff. So they have a pretty decent amount of fresh chicken that's packaged and ready to go. You can definitely see the empty spots, but for the most part, there is some, as opposed to Costco and Target that didn't have anything. But their ground beef, which used to be here, is virtually sold out. This is actually bison, so you're gonna have some people that maybe like that, but for the most part, they're looking for ground beef that they can put in a freezer, and that is totally gone. The bacon supply, there is some, but you can see there's empty spots and lack of stock in a lot of areas. So meat is definitely at a premium over here. Okay, and now we're gonna enter a ghost town formerly known as the paper product aisle. So this is where there used to be toilet paper and paper towels, and even when Fred Meyer and Safeway and Target and Costco were out, you could still find the Whole Foods toilet paper and paper towels and cleansers and things here, and it is all sold out. There's some napkins and things, but for the most part, oh look, there's 4 paper towels over there, but for the most part, this has been completely sold out. Things like laundry detergent and dish soap, there is an abundance of that. Here, there are some, so these empty shelves, this is where you transition from dish soap to cleanser. So anything that would be kind of like a counter cleaner or anything like that, that has all been pretty well taken out. There are a few things, and one thing that I've noticed is there are lots of these kind of rolling racks as they are doing their best to try to restock from what's in the back. There are ones of these almost in every single aisle as they have employees trying to restock shelves and trying to fill things back up. But it seems like as fast as they're doing that, they are selling back out again. So it's definitely an interesting whole situation. Pet food. Now this is one of those areas where, again, it's kind of a different type of pet food. This tends to be a little more premium pet food than what you might find in like a Safeway or Target. Some of these are going to be similar brands, but Whole Foods tends to carry some more premium options. But again, what you're seeing is areas where you've got whole sections that are sold out as people try to prepare for their pets. We saw this a little bit at Costco, but this is a great opportunity if you can get in and get some, or if your pet likes this, to come in and try to get some, so if you don't have to go out and be around people if you can avoid it. If you were curious what canceling school will do to an aisle at Whole Foods, so this is popcorn and chips and crackers and things you would have for kids at home, and it's just I've never ever seen it like this. You know, and we visit here frequently because it tends to be the closest store to our house, but it is just totally picked over and sold out. You know, dried fruits and things that you would have for the kids and stuff, those are sold out. And again, I realize that this is not necessarily Safeway or Target, but even the brands, even the kind of the lower priced brands or the more popular brands, things that aren't necessarily organic or specially designed for a certain diet type, keto or paleo or gluten-free or anything like that, all of those things still are pretty much gone. So a lot of people are stocking up on frozen foods, and now they actually have a little sign here that says they're limiting frozen foods. This is new in the last probably day or so. I haven't really noticed this before, but you can see empty shelves. It's been pretty well picked over at this point, and there are stuff, and like I said, they're trying to restock, but it's hard to keep up with the demand of what's going on here. Here's the freezer section, formerly known as toaster waffles. So, I mean, that's pretty well emptied out. And there's another one here that's been really emptied out. Frozen fruit is pretty empty. I had seen similar kind of reports from Costco yesterday that frozen food at Costco was pretty well empty. But again, if you kind of think about it, Costco has been the ground zero for people trying to stock up. And then there's kind of been the next level, which was Target. And Whole Foods has kind of been on the outside because it does have a lot of specialty foods and a lot of specialty needs. So it doesn't necessarily get the run on the basics that some of those other stores do. But here you go, frozen pizzas. Especially kind of the standard flavors, not even the special gluten-free, dairy-free versions, but this is just straight up general cheese pizzas and things are really running low. And ice cream. So popsicles, ice cream sandwiches, lots of kid stuff. So again, if you're gonna have the kids home for a couple of extra weeks and not really able to go out, making sure that there's some fun stuff to kind of keep life normal for them. That appears to be what's going on. And I mean, let's be honest, if you're gonna be home for a couple weeks with the kids, you probably need an extra pint of Ben & Jerry's if you're not going to the wine section. The juice section is something that didn't really look that depleted at, say, Target or at Fred Meyer previously, but things like apple juice, and again, this may be just when you say that the kids are going to be home, people are not only just stocking up for the general coronavirus, potential quarantine, who knows what, but now knowing that kids are going to be home, trying to stock up on kid-related things. So lots of, okay, lemon juice for lemonade maybe, but you're seeing a lot of shelves where there's maybe one bottle of something, but there's not full shelves. Lots of kind of the standard lemonades are sold out. Juice boxes, totally empty. Things like fruit cups. We saw this at Costco, but applesauce, anything that kids might like for snacks, or just kind of, again, keeping things as normal as possible for them in this time of kind of unknown, seems to be a really big thing. Jams and jellies. So there are some options here. Again, I would expect this to be bigger. These are sold out, but they're on a member sale, so that I would expect to happen. And there is peanut butter. There's not a lot of peanut butter, but there is peanut butter. And then for people that have nut allergies or peanut allergies, there are some options in that aspect for other things. But again, it just it's a theme on a theme on a theme at this point. So this was one of the most shocking aisles that I came to. This was the spaghetti sauce and tomato aisle, and there is nothing. I mean, there's maybe 20 cans, but there isn't much of anything left here available, which is just crazy, because even when we've seen, for example, Costco, in the previous videos, Costco had reduced pallets or reduced cases. They still had diced tomatoes and things like that, and these are just completely empty. So this is, again, I think, just another wave of people wanting to prepare, wanting to kind of wake up and stock up, and the stores just not having the stock ready for that amount of demand. Now, hopefully what we'll see is kind of a return to normalcy in the next few days, as trucks are able to make deliveries and things are able to get stocked back up again. But for right now, it is definitely a more difficult time as things start to kind of run low on what would be the normal expectation for a Saturday morning. Macaroni and cheese is regular. This is the standard, the Whole Foods brand, the 365, totally out. Another section that for the last several weeks has really not shown any sign of getting kind of picked over like everything else has been the canned beans. And this is just crazy that it has been completely sold out. It's actually quite a bit of cereal, but there's definitely empty shelves. But again, they're trying to restock as fast as they can. It's just trying to compete with a tsunami of demands. So I don't really bake a whole lot, so I've kind of been thinking about baking mixes and wanting to have those at home for the kids, and kind of thinking about that. They have a bunch of baking mixes, but one of the things that I was thinking about was, boosting up our kind of baking box, our flour and sugar, just the general stuff in case we needed to bake anything from scratch. And there's been a lot of flour. There hasn't been any sort of a shortage at Whole Foods over the last several weeks, except for today. And today, everyone woke up and realized that they wanted to be able to make their own, I don't know, cookies, bread, whatever. But that is totally sold out. And then the sugar is also been picked through. There actually is a little bit of sugar, but for the most part, it has definitely been people looking for baking. Empty. This was, because of the glare, this was kidney beans and garbanzo beans and black beans, just totally emptied, just like the main shelf where there used to be beans and beans and beans and beans, and now there is just emptiness. So this is dried fruit and nuts. This is something where there hasn't even been much movement in the last several weeks in this aisle, and now you're seeing people just, you know, there's only a couple of things on shelves. You're starting to see empty spots. So this is a spot where people are jumping in here, which I was not expecting. This has never been an issue, but water, bottled water, distilled water, this display is totally empty, and it's more empty. There were at least some things up here earlier today, and it has been sold out. So I'm imagining they're going to try and refill, but people are just trying to stock up for everything. Okay guys, so this is the actual water aisle. The other thing was an end cap of water, but you can see, yeah, there's the fancy waters that you would associate with Whole Food, and there are some of those, they've been taken out, but I mean, this is just the basic where Whole Foods water usually is, and that's just totally sold out. So it's definitely, it's widespread and all over. People are stocking up on tea, trying to actually, here's kind of their basic tea, sold out. Coffee, you know, there's actually quite a bit of coffee. There isn't a ton of backstock, but there is a bunch of that. So again, it kind of depends on the department and the aisle and what's going on, but I'm gonna wrap it up for Whole Foods. And thanks again. Feel free to subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of the community, and don't forget to like the video, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.